Okay, welcome. Today I'm going to show you how to make the top frame and tile supports for your tile top table, and this is phase 4. And this is a little trickier than any of the other steps that we've done so far. So I have my rough lumber, and basically I need to decide on a rough length. And to do this, we need to basically choose what's going to go in the middle of our table. So I've chosen a tile, but you could wood burn a piece of wood with a checkerboard, you could get a piece of cork, you could get a fancier piece of wood to put in there. It's up to you, but it needs to be chosen right now and ready to go in the table. Once I have that, I'm going to use this length, and my tile is exactly 11 3/4. So the rough length of my pieces is going to be 11 3/4, and then they miter out, so it's going to be 3/4 plus 3/4 is 6.5, and so we're at 12 plus 6.5 is 18.5. So we want about 20 inches of lumber, and I'm going to pick some nice lumber here to avoid knots because it's the top of my table. So I want to be picky and make sure the top's really nice. And out of each of these I should get 2 frames. And then I'm going to do one more little piece for the tile supports, just with a rough cut of 14 inches of it. Once I have my rough cuts on length, I'm going to bandsaw it in half so I can get my rough width. I want it finished at 3 1/4 wide, so I need to be a little wider than that. And cutting this board in half will work perfect for me. For the rough cuts on my tile supports, I can often use scraps for these pieces, but I made them 2 3/4 so I can finish them at 2 1/4 wide. Once I have them cut to rough length and rough width, I'm going to start my 5-step squaring lumber process. So I'm going to go to the jointer to do a face and an edge, the planer to thickness, which will be based on my tile, then to the table saw to finish width, square an end on the miter saw, and then cut it to finish length. Once I have a flat face and a flat edge, I'm going to plane them to thickness. For the top frame, it's going to be 7/8 thick, and for the tile support 7/8 minus the thickness of my tile, so that my tile will sit flush to the top. So I've got all my pieces planed. My 4 top frames are planed to 7/8 thick. And then when I was doing my tile supports, I just set my tile down and I planed the tile support so that when the tile support sat on top of the tile, it was all flush to the top. That way the tile and the top frame will all be the same plane. And now I'm going to table saw to it. Okay, so I have all my pieces cut to width, my tile supports, which I can square an end and cut to finished length. The one tricky part now is the top frame, because instead of squaring an end and cutting to length, I want miters. And so what I need to do is start with a 45-degree cut and then measure my miters from there. So I'm going to turn the saw to 45, and then I want to just cut a miter on the end, like squaring an end. Then what I can do is take my tile length and measure from the inside miter to the inside of my next miter and draw that 45. And I only am making one cut that has to be perfect instead of a bunch of cuts that have to be perfect. So when you're doing miters, this is always the way to do it. Then I'm going to, if I flip my board over and measure the length on the bottom, to my tile length plus an 1/8. Then I'm able to cut it without turning my saw. And here is a top frame with interior length, my tile length plus 1/8 of an inch, and I need to do 4 of these exactly the same. Now the length of my tile support is also dependent on my tile, and it needs to be the same as my interior measurement on my top frame. So it needs to be exactly 11 7/8 for all 3 of them. With the tile that I have. Yours might be different. Tile plus 1/8 of an inch. Okay, so once I got all my pieces cut, my 4 top frames and my tile supports, I can get ready to do my biscuiting. And that will be the next phase.